Continental finally has a new all-weather tire, and against the Bridgestone WeatherPeak, it actually wins in comfort, handling, and fuel efficiency. But the WeatherPeak still has one big advantage: long-term confidence. So is the new Continental good enough to beat Bridgestone, or is the WeatherPeak still the safer buy? This is the Bridgestone WeatherPeak versus the Continental SecureContact AW. The results are based on Discount Tires treadwear data. We start in the wet, and the first result is extremely close. The Bridgestone WeatherPeak stops 1 foot shorter than the Continental SecureContact AW. That gives Bridgestone a tiny 1% advantage in wet braking. So for straight line stopping, WeatherPeak just edges it. But for wet handling, this is where Continental fights back. The SecureContact AW scores 1 point higher than the WeatherPeak. That gives Continental a clear 5% advantage. So the wet results is split. Bridgestone has a tiny braking edge. Continental feels stronger when the road is wet and twisty. Now we move on to winter performance, and this is where Bridgestone takes another important win. The WeatherPeak scores 0.5 points higher than the SecureContact AW. That gives Bridgestone a 2.5% advantage in winter rating. The gap is not huge, but it matters, because in all weather category, winter confidence is one of the main reasons people buy these tires. Now comes one of the biggest differences: mileage. The Bridgestone WeatherPeak lasts 9,000 miles longer than the Continental SecureContact AW. Based on the comparison table, the SecureContact AW is 30% behind in median mileage. That is a major gap. Continental may feel more refined, but Bridgestone looks much more stronger for long-term tread life. On dry roads, the results is also split. In dry braking, the Bridgestone WeatherPeak stops 2 feet shorter than Continental. That gives Bridgestone a small 1% advantage. So again, Bridgestone has the better stopping results. But in dry handling, Continental comes back. The SecureContact AW scores 0.5 points higher than the WeatherPeak. That gives Continental a 2.5% advantage. So the pattern is becoming clearer. The Bridgestone has better braking and ownership fundamentals. Continental has better handling feel. Now we get onto a category where Continental really starts to shine: ride refinement. For quiet ride, the SecureContact AW scores 1.5 points higher than Bridgestone WeatherPeak. That gives Continental a strong 7.5% advantage. For ride comfort, Continental also wins. It scores 0.5 points higher, giving it a 2.5% advantage. This is probably the biggest reasons to consider the SecureContact AW. It feels more refined daily tire, quieter, more comfortable, and more polished. Fuel efficiency is another Continental win. The SecureContact AW scores 1 point higher than the WeatherPeak. That gives Continental a 5% advantage. So if you care about daily running costs and fuel efficiency, Continental has the better results here. Now let's talk about pricing. In the size 215/55/17, the Bridgestone WeatherPeak costs $181, while the Continental SecureContact AW costs $188. That makes Continental $7 more expensive per tire, or around 4% higher. So Bridgestone is not only stronger in mileage and winter, it is also slightly cheaper upfront. From my tire expert point of view, this is a very interesting comparison because neither tire completely destroys each other. The Bridgestone WeatherPeak is still the stronger value choice if you care about the serious ownership categories. It has advantage in wet braking, winter performance, mileage, dry braking, and price. That makes it the safer pick if you want long-term confidence and proven all-weather fundamentals. But the Continental SecureContact AW is not just a cheaper copycat entering the all-weather segment. It has real strengths. It handles better in the wet, it handles better in the dry, it is quieter, it is more comfortable, and is more fuel efficient. So the Continental feels like the more refined and sharper daily tire.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.